What's up? I'm Alex here, your daily code mentor. Today I'm talking to you about the idea of using functions to generate input and so that you have a reusable set of tools that allows you to build forms in a very rapid way. This comes from something I was showing to a client today. And it's basically the idea that you don't necessarily need Redux form. You don't necessarily need to make your life too complicated when you're building your app. This app is going to have a bunch of actions and reducers, specifically one that has to do with sign up, login, etc., etc. And by the way, let's take a second to look at this logging and the way I like to do them when I'm debugging and building stuff. As you can see, I have the name of the method, and then the name of the parameter, and then the value of the parameter. So there's no way for me to have any doubt where these logs come from. Okay, don't do this. Don't just put email. Don't just log the email because you're gonna get confused. You're not gonna know where it comes from. Okay, just take this habit. This is like $1 million habit, honestly. That said, we had a login page and we were working on simplifying it. And this is basically the form that we have now. This is React Native, so we have to build following, having text input from React Native. The idea was to simply build a simpler, reusable set of functions that allows me to build the input text rapidly, handle the change rapidly, and put all of this data in state so that I can then submit it through a action creator. So the gist of it stands in the fact that these functions are defined in util/inputs. So as you can see, and we only have two. So we have the onChange function and we have the RenderTextInput function. RenderTextInput will simply return a text input contained inside of a view with very basic styling, and it will take three parameters: the name, the state value, and whether it's secure or not. Secure or not simply means that it's going to show dots instead of showing the full value. The name is going to be the name of it. That's as simple as it gets. And then the state value will be the name that we give to this property inside of the state. So as you can see on line 11, we access this .state square bracket state value so that we get the value. In case you don't know, this basically will evaluate, in case of email, will evaluate to this. It's the same thing because the syntax like this is literally the same syntax as using the dot notation. So that's why we can do that. And then we return the input, and as you can see, there's a bunch of bindings here. There's a this.onChange, this.state, and I'm using a function that is not an arrow function. This allows me to go to login.js, include the function from util/inputs, and then on my constructor, I can bind this to the function. So that way I can use it inside my login component, and it's gonna just work. The same happens for sign up. I'm not sure if you already did it, but if we're gonna build a form at this point, it's gonna take us a few seconds. It's literally gonna take us a few seconds, and we didn't have to make it as complicated as we could have with other libraries. Obviously, there's a time and a place for other libraries. I'm not saying they're useless at all. They're very, very, very useful. There's a reason for all of them. However, what I wanted to show is a very simple way for you to build your inputs. So as you can see, again, the function is called this.renderTextInput, as a parameter of the name, a parameter of the state name, and then whether it's secure or not. We could also have additional rules such as placeholder, maybe some animation, some colors, etc. And as you can see in inputs.js, we just take care of that. The other function is the onChange, and it's very simple. We're going to take the name, which is name of, it's called target here, but it's basically, it's going to be called here on the onChange. So name is going to be the target, and then we're going to set the value. The reason why we do this is because the text input element is less complicated. The event element for text input is less complicated when you use onChange text. So we don't even have to go more complicated than that. We just take the simplest approach and we get it done. As you can see, additionally on our setup, the way we set up our Redux store, which is something that may be controversial to some, but it's actually what I found to be the most effective. I'm saving on the store the stuff that I need on multiple pages, and I'm not concerning myself with putting the form on the store because I know for a fact that we'll only be using this component. I don't care if the user navigates away. I want to lose all of the history, all of the data. I literally don't care. So there's no reason for me to put this in Redux. That way my development time is cut to an extremely short degree. I execute super rapidly, and as you can see, I had to do some work up front to get some level of reusability, but now I can create a form in the time it takes literally to understand what the requirements are. So I think that's pretty cool, and if you want to do something cool like this with me, you can join me on codementor.io/Alessandro Valerani. I build full stack projects, WordPress, a bunch of stuff. I honestly like this job a lot. I like to solve problems. So bring me, bring it on, bring me your worst problems, and I wish you an amazing day. Thank you.